All right, welcome in, welcome in. We are live. We, missed the Sunday stream, Dan.
It was Mother's Day.
Mother's
I
Day,
mean, you gotta take care of mom.
exactly. So yeah, then what was it? It was Easter, like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, we've had a couple of big holidays there on Sunday. So we're making up for it here, coming at you second Tuesday in a row, I believe. I want to say. I think we did
yeah,
it last Tuesday.
yeah.
Um,
So maybe
yeah.
we'll never know. Maybe we have no idea if we haven't talked about like tomorrow, but maybe we stream tomorrow again. Who knows?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'd be open to that. I have like a video gig until like 9 Eastern, but probably be home around like 9:30. So maybe we do a little late night stream if you're up for that.
yeah, there's a chance we go tomorrow, so we'll keep in touch on that, and
Yeah.
you never know, fellas. We might be live again if interested in tuning into that. But today
Yeah.
we've been sparked a little bit of conversation, a lot of conversation, Dan. I mean, come on, it's you and I,
Oh yeah.
and we started. Well, you joined a orphan, I think around like February. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. A few months ago. Yeah, I took
And
over an orphan in a 14-team league.
yeah, so 14 team. It's like a start nine, and then basically everything else is the settings are like different. It's like a tier, but like basically the way we put it, it's basically just like a normal tight end premium league. Everything kind of cancels each other out. There's just a couple extra little bonuses to like make it look fancy, but like really it's just like a normal point 0.5 premium with like 3 point bonuses for 40 plus yard touchdowns.
Yeah,
Is the best way to describe it.
yeah.
So anyways,
Technically a tiered PPR, and there's like 0.15 per carry, but for all intents and purposes,
it's
it's pretty standard dynasty league. Yeah, nothing too much.
exactly, yeah, to just not even over complicate anything. And so you joined it. I remember you like talking about some deals and stuff you made over time.
Yeah.
And then I just joined the league. Don't even really. I guess you guys just like kicked the guy out or something. He was AFK or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was kind of just MIA and he
Yeah,
hadn't paid his dues yet. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised you joined it because I know like you're pretty like near your limit with Dynasty League. So almost didn't even send it to you, but I'm just like,
yeah.
what the heck? I knew that you knew a lot of the guys that are in this league
That's
from
kind of why I joined it. I just like I know a lot of people in it.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh, Hawkeyes in there. I can get another league with Hawkeyes. I think I'm just in
yeah,
one with them.
yeah,
Um, there's like the prep and Dyna, Matt Chaos, stuff like that. So it's like, what
yeah,
the heck? Like, I'll just
yeah.
join this. And it was free this year, though I technically not because I had to pay for next year. But anyways, the team is like not good, but it's also in a way that like I was talking about that orphan in like Blood, Sweat, and Beers, where it's like, okay, it's not good for value. It's actually pretty bad. However, it has a lot of contending assets. And there's like a lot of ways you can kind of go with the team. So I just that's kind of what I saw in the team is
Yeah.
you're probably not winning a championship with this, but it could be pretty fun to kind of retool it and see what happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've taken over a lot of orphans as I've mentioned before on this channel, and it's something I've come to love. There's just
Yeah,
something fun about it. It's a fun challenge, and it's just sort of an interesting starting point because you get these players that a lot of them like maybe they're guys that you normally wouldn't draft like in a starter draft or whatever, but you just kind of get stuck with them, and you hope you have some picks, but sometimes it's a little dicey there. Um, but yeah, and sometimes you get like a free buy-in, a free year to kind of play with. And so I definitely think that's appealing. So yeah, the orphan that I took over was pretty brutal. It's probably the worst orphan I've ever taken over. But there was like just enough where I thought like, okay, maybe I can like work my magic here. And yours wasn't too much better than mine. So we're definitely in a very similar spot. But yeah, it's definitely a fun challenge, and yeah, I thought it would be a fun discussion today to just talk about how we approach orphans and taking over just some like random team that's not in great shape. And yeah, in this case, we both had a free year buy-in. So yeah, I mean, generally, like, how do you approach like an orphan in that situation? Yeah, and certainly we can talk about what you've done so far in this league, and I can talk about what I've done so far as well. But yeah, just in general, like how often do you take over orphans, Blake, and what's just your general approach with that?
this is only my second orphan. My
Okay.
my other one was Blood, Sweat, and Beers, which has a lot of these same players in it. Funny enough, there's like at least now like 5 of the same managers because that In Your Mouth guy
Yeah.
joined.
Actually, I think now it's 7 because In Your Mouth
So,
now. He just recently joined Blood, Sweat, and Beers this offseason, as well as wait, there was one manager in there, but I'm pretty sure we're at 7 now.
oh
Oh,
wow.
I guess you. Yeah, I don't know if I'm forgetting
Yeah, okay, it
anyone.
might be 6 or 7 then I guess, including
Pretty sure
me
it's
and
7.
you.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
it,
yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was saying, so yeah, like that was my only other orphan. So it's funny that there's a lot of same players in this one.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, my only other experience before, really bad team with one quarterback. That seems to always be the case. Is you have one quarterback and a terrible team, and
Yeah.
I just completely sold everything. I kept one player on the roster was Jahan Dotson, and funny enough, like he ended up going down to 0, but
Mhm.
like I did draft Rasheed Rice and then picked up Puka Nakua, which really
Yeah.
sparked the comeback. And then I mean, I damn near won the league the next year, but
Mhm.
the Jalen Hurts concussion and yada yada, James Conner injury.
Yeah.
Had Hurts just played that game and scored, I think it was like 11.5 points. I actually would have took the Orphan over them, won the following year, which
Yeah.
I thought was pretty good. It's a really good team
Oh yeah.
now. So that's my only experience with an Orphan, which has been pretty
Okay.
successful. But I got lucky. I did a lot of good moves, and we'll see. I don't expect to be able to draft Puka Nakua and Rasheed Rice and stuff again.
Mhm.
With,
Well, yeah, but you never know. But yeah, that was an epic turnaround for your first Orphan there in Blood, Sweat, and Beers. And yeah, I mean, you'll probably need like maybe not quite that level of luck in this league, but I definitely think you're more than capable of like turning this one around. So yeah, you already have made what 2 trades today?
yeah, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
taking it over.
two
So,
trades. And but by the way, one thing I want to add just to because I was just saying, the two
yeah.
things I did wrong. Well, there was like I think 2 really bad things I did in that startup as well. One was holding on to Jahan Dotson as like my only player, who was like a huge value loss, and I also
Mhm.
traded away Kyron Williams, who was like literally worth nothing, like a month before the season or so, and I got
Yeah.
like Keontae Ingram and like a 4th for him or something.
Yeah,
So
this was
like,
going into
oh,
Kyron's second season, so he hadn't done much as a
yeah.
rookie, and yeah.
And this was the other one thing. So I just want to like put this for reference of like even while like making these mistakes, like
Mhm.
you can make mistakes in these like rebuilds and stuff like that. There's a lot of room, like if you have the right process. But I also passed on San Laporta for Roshan Johnson because it was a non-tight end premium. So it
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, what do I need a tight end for? I'll just get one later.
Yeah.
And yeah, so had I just like kept Kyron and drafted Laporta, I know it's really easy to say, but like it was a very, very real possibility both those things like could have happened.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the team could be looking. I actually own both those guys. Funny enough,
You end up paying those players back.
I ended up paying for them, but it's even funnier. But anyways, it's
Yeah.
just funny to like realize that you can make like huge mistakes in Dynasty, but like there's always so many more opportunities to make up
Oh,
for
yeah.
it and bounce back.
Oh
So-
yeah, that's a great lesson. Yeah, never focus on the mistakes you made and dwell on them. Like, just look ahead. There are going to be a million more opportunities to make better choices and have better outcomes.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was the question again there?
Yeah. So just how do you generally approach orphans?
Oh.
Like, I mean, I guess we could even talk about like how do you even decide whether to take one on, or we could
I
just
see.
skip ahead to like, okay, you've taken this orphan on. Like, what's
Yeah.
the first thing you do? I mean, I'm
see.
assuming that you're looking over your team, you're seeing what you got. And I mean, probably like the first decision you got to make is like, are you going to try to contend or rebuild? I mean, most of the time you're probably going to be rebuilding, but
It's
I don't
not
know.
always
I
the
mean,
case.
how do you look at things?
Yes, it's not always the case, but both teams I think I've taken over are leaning more rebuild. Like, I just don't have a quarterback in this one. It's a 14 team league. It's we'll show the roster by the way to those watching shortly here, but
Yeah.
we're gonna focus more on kind of this broad stuff first. But it's got one quarterback. It doesn't have a single player that goes in the top 4 rounds of startups or better.
Yeah.
So like, it's not even a good contending team, and it doesn't have good value. I mean, that those two things add up for okay. I probably should retool it, but that also doesn't mean I'm like going straight into a rebuild. Especially because like a lot of the players I own, number one, I actually don't even like own these guys, whether I like them or not. I just don't own a lot of these guys on these rosters.
Yeah.
So I'm not like too attached. I didn't draft them or anything. So because I didn't do any of the decisions, like when you take over an orphan, you probably understand this too, Dan. Like there's like zero attachment to like how you got these players and stuff. So like I'm willing to move like anyone if it's a fair deal, basically. If I think it makes my team better. And that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make my team better. I'm not even trying to like. I don't have a plan to say, oh, I'm gonna like compete. Like, I could like go into the week 1 with a starting like competing team, but by week 5 I could have like blown it up already and like sold everything off.
Right.
It's kind of just see what see what opportunities presents itself, and go from there. Be opportunistic.
And the thing is, like, really, one of the biggest things you need to do is just gain more value. You need to acquire more value on your team, because in most cases, you're taking over an orphan that doesn't have a lot of value, both in terms of, whether that's players or draft picks. There's usually like a lack of value. So you're really just trying to acquire more. And once you start to do that, then I think you get to a certain point where you can decide at this point, like, okay, is this going to go in more of a direction of a contending or rebuilding? And yeah, you might not know that until you get further along in the process. Like you see what trade opportunities present itself. Maybe the league has a lot of teams that are like all trying to contend, and so you're getting really good offers for like the veterans on your squad, and they're offering you some really nice packages of picks, and maybe that pushes you more into the rebuild where you could have kind of gone either way. Or the opposite could be true. It could be a league that really values picks and the veterans are going cheap, and you get presented with some opportunities to buy some cheap, productive veterans. You're like, hey, maybe I'll just try to contend. I got like a free buy-in this year. Maybe I'll just see if I can just win some free money, basically. So, yeah, I think you don't even need to decide that right away, even though it seems like the logical first thing. But I think like the main thing you want to do is just acquire more value on the team and then kind of take it from there.
Yeah, exactly. Like every once in a while, you'll get in a team like you got in Blood, Sweat, and Beers, where it's like, okay, that team just won the championship. You're loaded up, and you can kind of go from there. There's other times where like Dakota or Executioner, or sorry, Coda, I guess is his name on like Sleeper.
Yeah.
He joined Blood, Sweat, and Beers, but like was the exact opposite of how you joined. Like his team is atrocious. It has one quarterback, of course, like all orphans do for some reason, and like he has to rebuild it. So like when you exclude those, kind of like you need to do this. There's literally no option, but like you just can't compete with. Freaking Jalen Tolbert in your starting lineup or whatever it is,
Right.
Like, obviously, kind of excluding those, like, those are, like, it's either you gain value or you've just, you already have a good team, so you don't even need to worry about the orphaning part necessarily. But yeah, when you're in that kind of, like, middle ground, you're generally, you're generally low on value. That's why it's an orphan.
Yeah.
Someone joined in, messed up, and the big thing is just acquire value. But I think the most interesting way to do it, and again, I might try to do this in our league, but it's a 14-team league. It's kind of like, it feels like it could be hard to pull this off, just depth-wise and all things considered. But I think one of the most maybe fun ways you can take over an orphan, Dan, and I think your team's going to be good at doing this when I looked at it, is just try to acquire value by like making trades. But like, let's say you go from like Jordan Addison to like Jacoby Myers or something like that, and you picked up like a first along the way or whatever. Like just maybe that's, I don't know. Don't even worry if it's like realistic or unrealistic. You get the point.
Right. Something like that.
So like you still get something in your lineup that like could be pretty much the same thing scoring, like at least on a week to week basis, or close. And then you're getting all this extra value and stuff to work with. So like that's probably like my favorite way if you got like the right team to do that. See what you can do to like build the worst starting lineup possible, or like the most mid starting lineup, accumulate a bunch of value, and then if you go in the season, you might get a little lucky, and you might start hitting on picks like, oh my god, that's the 1-on-1, and you just have so many options of what you can do with the team. Tank, compete.
Yeah, I love that strategy because, I mean, first of all, it gives you a great excuse to make some fun tear-down trades, which I'm a huge proponent of. So I think you could have a lot of fun with that. Like another one I was suggesting to you earlier is like, could you do something like, because you have like Dak Prescott, could you go to get like for Dak, get like a first plus Aaron Rodgers plus a piece, and then if Aaron Rodgers comes and like, ends up signing with the Steelers and playing, like you have a usable starting quarterback that you can contend with, but yet you still get this future first. That's a fun lottery ticket. What if that ends up being like an early first, and now all of a sudden, like, bam, like you're in business here for the future, and you could still at least have a chance to get like lucky in the short term, especially in a 14-team league where the bar isn't super high for like what it takes to contend. Plus, throw a little luck into the equation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely love that strategy.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's not really hard necessarily to execute. Like, it depends on your league and what your team is. A lot of factors. But if you're just making the right trades, like, you don't need to be fleecing people. You just need to make the right process trades. Like, I look at your team, Dan. Like, I doubt it was very good to begin with, and you own like the entire third round, a bunch of first and seconds, future picks, and like, yeah, your starting lineup only has like, I think maybe like basically like 4 or 5 of like nines, maybe like 4 of 9 starters, like as legit ones. But you have all those picks to draft players and or trade and do options for, and you still have kind of these like flexible players and like handcuffs and stuff. So it's just like you're in a pretty good position to try that out, of like see how good of a team you can kind of build while like maintaining all this like capital and picks and rookies. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how you do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think in a way I kind of have been doing that strategy a bit, maybe not through like necessarily tear downs, but kind of just getting like players like thrown into deals. Like I got like Jalen Wright thrown into a deal. I got Deontay Johnson thrown into a deal. I made like a cheap trade for Calvin Austin, who kind of makes sense in this format with like the big play bonus. I just traded some like backup quarterbacks for him, like Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins. And that was before George Pickens got traded. I also have George Pickens on this team, who I traded for before I went to the Cowboys. So just kind of made a bet there that, he might get traded soon. So, his value has gone up. So just some kind of like sneaky, making some sneaky deals, or you get kind of like a sneaky player thrown in. Like that can go a long way, especially in a 14-team league where, the Calvin Austins of the world like matter just a little bit more. And yeah, the funny thing is kind of like what we were talking about earlier in terms of like you don't have to decide right away whether you're contending or rebuilding. I mean, the team I took over was so bad, I was pretty sure that, like this has to be a rebuild. Like there's really no other scenario. So I start making trades, and somehow, one way or another, I kind of find myself in a position now where like I look at, my lineup and, it looks a little better than it did when I took it over. But on top of it, I have all these picks that I didn't have when I took the team over. A lot of them being in 25, and I'm excited about all the players that I can get with those picks. Maybe even trade for some veterans on the clock if I want to. But even if I just took all rookies, if I make some good selections there and like hit on a few, it's really not crazy to think at this point that I could contend this year. Not that I'm going to have like one of the best teams in the league, but I'm probably in position to at least be like semi-competitive and have a chance to compete for that last playoff spot. And if you get in, you have a chance to get lucky. And so, yeah, just by focusing on gaining value, ironically and unexpectedly, I find myself in a position where I might actually end up contending.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're gaining value, technically it doesn't necessarily mean your starting lineup's getting worse, because like, well, think about it. You might be at temporarily losing starting players, but you're gaining money and assets and stuff like that of that nature for draft picks. And those draft picks then equal players that you can just cash out for at any moment. So it's funny how that works. You're now in a position where, like, I'm looking at your team, and I wish I had your team as far as just, like, value goes.
Right.
You do a lot of things with that, with those picks. And I think one of the biggest things, I guess, with this whole conversation too is like understanding, like how variance works. Like you don't need to have the best team to make the playoffs. You don't need to have the best team to win the championship at all. And in the off season, it's just so we're just so like it's all or nothing, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, like my team sucks on paper, like whatever. Who was like I mean, there was a bunch of players last year, but it's like, Jacoby Myers is like my wide receiver 2, and like DeAndre Swift's my RB 1 or 2 or whatever it is. Just like it's like, well, they didn't seem very good before the season, whoever the players are. But when you actually get in the season and you're just like, oh, holy crap! Like that guy I thought sucked is scoring points and scoring multiple touchdowns. Like we know this happens every year, and then also we know this whole thing where like you got the Juwan Johnsons and stuff like getting red hot. Like I love to just like consider all the chaos in season that happens, and it's like if you just completely write yourself out, or like completely eliminate yourself from contending, before you've even tried.
Yeah.
It's not always like the best decision, if you have like the value to do it. Like in your case, we'll see kind of how things play out, but I think that's like a good thing. Just the whole conversation to add is just because you don't have a starting lineup doesn't mean you need to like rebuild or whatever. Like
exactly. Because like you don't know like which players this year are just going to be these like crazy unexpected surprises. Like look at like when you took over your first orphan and you traded away Kyron Williams for like peanuts, right? Oh, because he's nothing, right? And then he ends up being this like league winner running back in year 2.
And so, like, Jahan Dotson dies, you know? Like my one guy I thought was safe.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, every year we have all these like unexpected surprises. I mean, look at like Juwan Jennings like this past season, and yeah, you just like a lot of times we just really don't know what we have, and what might just be that like breakout player, or maybe you just hit on some like random like 3rd or 4th round rookie pick and end up getting like the next big thing. So yeah, like we really have to remind ourselves like how little like we actually know in the off season, trying to like project ahead into the season. So yeah, I mean, it's probably not a bad idea to just stay flexible as long as possible. And, yeah, see what trade opportunities are out there, and maybe that pushes you in one direction or the other. But, like, don't force it or think that you have all the answers, because also, like, we just don't know, like, what if you get, like, the easiest, like, fantasy schedule and you have, like, you know, pretty like mediocre team, but like you end up like having a winning record and you're in the playoffs, and then maybe your team gets hot. So it's just like, yeah, just stay flexible.
And add in a bunch of players get season-ending injuries or injured in the weeks that they play against you. Of course, you could go the other way against you as well. But like, there's just so much variance and so much randomness that happens in the season that no one can predict. Yeah. And then even the stuff we do project is like always wrong. And like at best it's like directionally correct, you know, like I don't know, like Breece Hall is better than DeAndre Swift. Okay, like we knew that, but I mean it's like it doesn't always even pan out. Like it's just be more realistic. I guess we think things are like 100-0 or like 90-10 when it's like really it's like 55-45, 60-40.
Right, for
odds,
sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like tear down trades in general, because like you're betting on uncertainty. You're betting that we don't have things as figured out as we think we do. So that's why I'm generally a fan of those type of trade. And
if you target the right play, I think the beauty of like the tear downs is like when you're targeting the right like profiles to do it with, and like the right players. Because if you're just doing it with like players that aren't even, I don't know, like superstars to begin with, like then it's like it's just like a complete crapshoot anyways. Like if you're talking about the wide receiver 40 versus the wide receiver 48, like if there's a value difference there.
But yeah, some people think that like there is a big difference between those guys, and so that's why you want to like look for those opportunities to do that and get something on top, gain value.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how like your mindset shifts, because like when I started playing Dynasty, I was accumulating value like crazy, and I'm still doing that, but I don't need to be as worried about that on my teams now, because pretty much every team I have is in a good position. Value wise, a lot of them are really good like contending rosters. So like I've kind of just gotten a state of just like I don't need to like go force anything. I don't need to make these crazy bets like okay, I need to like bet against this player and like pray this happens and yada yada. Like but now when you take over an orphan, like you need to start doing that. You need to start like you have to get much more creative. Like, okay, if I sell this player for like that guy, it's like, okay, well, what can I do with that second? Like you're just like figuring out like the range of the outcomes. You're really thinking about the range of the outcomes of these players. At least I am. Yeah. Of like what happens, and also like when do you sell these guys? Are they more valuable like week 1, week 8, whatever it might be? Like I'm trying to consider all these options with all these players and trying to figure out what the best thing I can do with them is.
Oh yeah, because I mean you have less margin for error when you take over an orphan that much value, because like you have this like small like pile of value to work with, and if you make some bad deals, then it's like that pile's like shrinking and shrinking until like you just have like absolutely nothing to work with, and the team is just absolutely completely screwed. So yeah, you got to be careful. You got to consider the deals a little more carefully, and yeah, really think about those ranges of outcomes, and yeah, make some intentional bets, and yeah, like you said, get creative, like, because yeah, you got to find some creative ways to find value and make some value out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you do that. I guess we could kind of look at these trades. We'll exit out of the overlay real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I just wanted to mention that I think it's also important to say how you really want to try to contend as many years as possible. Like there was like a pure potential video about this like a while back that we both watched and talked about at the time. And it just really emphasized how the best team in a dynasty league doesn't always win. And so because of that, you should really try to contend as many years as possible to maximize your chances of, you know, getting those first place winnings as much as you can if you're really trying to come out, you know, financially ahead with playing Dynasty, which is a nice bonus. I mean, we mostly do it for fun, but you know, we like to make a little money along the way as well.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And yeah, the biggest thing is like, yeah, it's always different from situation to situation. Because yeah, if you gotta realize though, when you can't compete, like you gotta go for that one-on-one, and you gotta do everything you can to push your value in, or vice versa. Like if you're in it, you know, make winning moves and like if you have the value, etc. So that's the fun part. So this is a 14-team league. I know. I was thinking maybe 7 teams make playoffs. I noticed 6 teams make playoffs. So that alone does like make me a little like less concerned about competing. I'll say.
Okay.
Because you know, I mean, my team's not even like amazing to begin with. I don't think it's like that bad, but it's just like I just don't have a quarterback, which like you need.
Yeah, that's tough.
I don't know how I'm gonna get one. Like I might, again, something might come along, but I'm not gonna force it. So I'm kind of I'm really just sitting in the middle of like we'll see what happens, but we'll take a look at what trade I made, and we could then also like what trades I made. Then we could also talk about some stuff with your team of kind of how you got to where you are.
Yeah,
but
that sounds good.
Yeah, this just came in my inbox. It was like I own Tracy, and this guy had Brian Robinson chaos. And I was pretty surprised he sent it. Not that it's like some kind of fleece or anything. They're probably like relatively valued the same. But it's like a point per carry, even though it's very small. And Brian Robinson's projected to be a starting running back. And in my opinion, Tyron Tracy is not. So, and I think you agree with that, Dan.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was a really savvy trade when I saw that go through this morning or whatever it was today. Because I don't think that's a trade most people in your situation would do, because you're giving up. I mean, Brian Robinson's one of the most like boring running back in the NFL probably. Like just no one's excited about trading for Brian Robinson. He's usually a guy that's like on every trade block, like in every league that you're in. Like people just want to like get off of him, whatever. And yeah, of course, everyone thought he was going to get replaced in the draft, and he doesn't. But even despite that, people still aren't excited about him, you know? Whereas like Tracy is like this fun, I guess we could still call him young, you know, even though he's like 25 or whatever, you know, explosive player, and he catches passes, and like everyone loves Tracy. I mean, at least as a player for the most part. He's a lot more exciting than Brian Robinson, I guess, is the
What's hilarious is like they're like almost the same age, you know, they're within a year. Yeah. It's the funniest part.
Yeah, so I think it was a savvy move, and I guess I could see how it would make sense for Matt Chaos too, because like if Brian Robinson isn't in his starting lineup that often, because he has like Bijan and James Conner, like maybe you just sort of like roll the dice on the upside of Tracy, either that he outplays Scatabo and keeps like the job, or maybe Scatabo gets injured and then Tracy's like this like workhorse and he's more explosive than Brian Robinson. But I think it was a trade that, I mean, I like your side, but you could kind of argue it makes sense for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think of value, again, like these two players is going to be relatively the same, but like I just want a guy touching the ball. I'm just like thinking about a window. This was just like randomly showed up in my inbox, which I was pretty surprised, because you rarely like see deals like this in your inbox or like get to do them.
Especially like running back for running back. Like you don't see that very often.
Yeah, exactly. So again, just like who's going to be touching the ball more week one is really all I'm concerned about. They're like the same age, and like scoring fantasy points equals value. If he falls in the end zone twice week 1, like I think he has a way better chance of doing that than Tracy, like significantly.
Oh yeah,
better.
imagine if he has like 80 yards and 2 touchdowns week 1, you can like sell him for a nice profit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like even though you made this trade, like most people think like, oh, why do you sell like Tracy for picks? Well, not a whole lot of people probably want to buy Tracy right now, but you can move him for Brian Robinson, and then if Brian Robinson projects to be a starter, if he does something early in the season, bam, now you can sell him for picks, and now like you're getting ahead, or you could keep him and like maybe by then like you're more trying to contend at that point. So it's a trade that keeps you flexible, and like whether you end up contending or rebuilding, I feel like it gets you closer to doing that.
Yeah, like Tracy was not going to be anything projectable in my lineup. I was just going to probably just dump him off anyways. So like I didn't have to think about it very much. And also this is one of those trades where it's like, sure, it's not even like any kind of slam dunk necessarily. Though I think it has the potential to be like pay off pretty decent when you are so desperate for value.
Yeah.
If Brian Robinson is scoring points. I was also just thinking like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Like it's probably just like they're just both backups anyways or something like soon anyways. And it's just like if Brian Robinson doesn't work out, like I don't think Tracy is anyways. So like who really cares?
Yeah.
We could both just end up being disappointed with the trade, or maybe I cash out. I get the opportunity to cash out, and he doesn't. So,
exactly.
I think that's just kind of the key of the trade there for me.
Yeah. So I love that deal, and like it's probably not the kind of trade that like most managers would think of, like maybe even including you, but you were lucky enough that it just appeared in your inbox. But maybe it's the kind of deal we should be thinking about more. And I think that's a good example of like, even though in this case you didn't come up with it, a creative offer to like, okay, how do I get out of Tyrone Tracy if you really think he's going to be the RB2 on the Giants this year, as in the backup for them? How do you get out of that? How can you turn him into some value before he like goes to 0 or close to it if you think that's going to happen? And Brian Robinson's a sneaky guy to buy in that situation, so I love that deal.
Yeah, and that actually is something that, like, I don't want to say I specialize in because you don't get those done very often, but I will often look at when I'm just like ready to get off a player. Like I'll just find like a list of players that I think are just like in the same value or even like worth less technically, but are like uprising that is they have a clear path to soar them, and I will try to like just like force a deal done between those people if I do want to get off like a Tracy in that scenario. Because like at worst case, if I don't believe in the player like at all, I just don't see it for whatever reason, then it's just better to get the guy that has like an actual path that's like worth the same now, and like get the upside versus a guy that's like gonna fall likely.
Exactly. Yeah, get the guy going up. Like I know another player that you already have a lot of shares of, and you probably wouldn't even mind getting more because he's a pretty attractive price. Is Ray Davis, the Bills running back. And so, like, let's say this Brian Robinson deal never appeared in your inbox. Yeah. And funny enough, you actually end up acquiring Ray Davis. But pretending like that didn't happen for a moment, like, I could think of, I could imagine a creative offer to get out of, like, Tyrone Tracy. Like, could you get Ray Davis in a 4th? Like, you could probably get that done.
Yeah, like, I would... I suppose I would just do. There's no 4th in this league, but like I would take like anything to go from like Tracy to Ray Davis because again I think they're probably just like both backups, and I think like Ray Davis is also just as good of a player if not even like probably potentially better. I get it.
Better offense too.
Better offense, and like we did see a great game from Ray Davis when he played anyways, and good flashes from him. So like who's to say who's better? Like Tracy the opportunity.
Ray Davis in a 3rd, Ray Davis in a 4th, something like that where you're getting like 2 pieces for one, and maybe Tracy's on the way down and Ray Davis is on the way up. Like who knows? So that's just an example. Yeah, and
use your own evaluations. Like it could be completely wrong about my own, but like that's why we're all we all got our own players and stuff. So Ray Davis. That's a good transition into this next deal.
Yeah.
I actually just I have Cook on this team that I inherited. But I didn't even think about it at all when putting this trade together that I own Cook. I'm not concerned about getting Cook's handcuff whatsoever.
Right.
But then I just like Ray Davis a lot, so I just add him in the trade, and then I realized after, hey, I got his handcuff now if I wanted to keep Cook, which is hilarious. But
by the way, you're like the James Cook guy now. You got 2 shares now.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I inherited one and felt like I got a really good value on the other.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's just kind of
unfortunately.
funny. Yeah, you've never been a James Cook guy, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am the James Cook guy. And you know what's funny with inheriting these like two shares? Like I got a really good value in like Blood, Sweat, and Beers, but like I just still don't feel good about it because I'm just like not the James Cook guy,
Yeah.
and I did just not. And you know what's funny, Dan? We always talked about like we're always like a year early on stuff,
Right.
like whatever the take is. It just
Mhm.
seems like like we're like ah man like it didn't work out and stuff, but like
Yeah.
then the next year it just like does, but you're
Yeah.
just too early. Like
Yeah.
that's just kind of how I feel about the James Cook Ray Davis thing. It's like sure I'm willing to acknowledge okay Cook he scored 18 touchdowns ever. I don't think he's gonna do that again. I think he's still gonna be good for fantasy again, but Ray Davis is stepping into his second year. Cook
Mhm.
didn't even see more work than he had the previous year. I just think this is like a funny scenario where I have both these players now, and I'm gonna like stick with that bet on Ray Davis. He had a pretty good rookie season for just being like a pure handcuff.
Oh yeah.
I think he's a pretty
Absolutely.
good player. So I'm gonna try not to be your early and then give up on that. It just seems like one of those situations where I think the bet's just as good as it was before.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, why don't you tell us the details of this second trade that you made today?
Yeah, so I inherited Waddle, who honestly I thought might be a pretty good trade target, like early on in the season, and then I just was like thinking more about it. I was like, you know what, like, I just don't really see like too much of a path where like really like notably gains value. Like he's already gonna be like turning 27, and I don't think I pop it up. Um, like
I mean,
at
I guess,
best, it's like a minimal gain, even if he has like a really solid season.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like Tyreek Hill just like completely like falls off
Yeah.
the cliff, and just like can't really play anymore, or he just like goes Antonio Brown and he's like off the team and like Waddle's like the clear number one. I guess that would be it, but I don't know. It just seems like Waddle always disappoints, and like if you're I mean, well, I guess you're not rebuilding, so you're still kind of staying flexible. But like if you're taking over an orphan, if you can turn like Waddle into like two or three assets that you like, and it's like pretty good value, like I think that makes a lot of sense to just try to like
Yeah.
get that potential value gain.
Yeah, so I'll break this down and I'll explain my thinking. But yeah, I sent away Waddle and Aaron Jones for remember, this is a 14-man league for a 2026 first, the 207, which is actually the 209 in a 12-team league,
Yeah.
and Ray Davis. So I get a 3 for 2. And like honestly, the way I'm just kind of breaking this down, I know that Aaron Jones is absolutely more valuable than Ray Davis, but like he's just so old. Like I have a bunch of running backs on this team. Like there's really just a world where Ray Davis in the season or after is just like worth something, and Aaron Jones isn't.
Yeah.
And you can talk about I actually think like Aaron Jones is like not a very good trade target at all unless you're extremely desperate and you're getting him extremely cheap.
Yeah.
Because I just think Jordan Mason's going to be involved a lot and whatnot. But I just think we've seen probably the best for fantasy in Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm almost like willing to write those guys off, though of course Jones is more valuable technically right now. But that's the part I love about it. Here we go, we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of the part I love about the deal is Ray Davis and Aaron Jones. I'm not too concerned about the difference between them when like talking a package like this. Right. Whereas Waddle, like, there's no chance I should be getting a first and the 209 for Waddle, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And if I'm gonna like look at the deal this way, that's what I'm getting. Because I'm taking that Aaron Jones and Ray Davis swap. I'm getting good, like decent credit for that. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not like too concerned about the first. The guy that owns it has a really good starting roster, but also has like very little depth. So it's a couple, again, just leaning into this variance. Like I gotta tell myself these stories when I'm doing these trades and stuff like that. I could look into like a top 5 pick. And it might seem crazy if you look at the guy's roster, but like he's got a bunch of old players, like a ton of. It's basically all old players, and some guys that have already been disappointing. So
nothing on the bench.
Yeah, nothing on the bench. So it's just a couple injuries away.
Yeah.
Or just a couple disappointments. From you get and maybe it's not even top 5, maybe it's like top 7 or 8. But it's like if Waddle's already worth that anyways, like I get a free 209, so it's just I don't know. I don't see like too many ways where I get like destroyed in the trade, and like I think this is like a key Like, I think it's just like a relatively fair deal for market value.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna take my side all the time, especially when I need to like make this trade. You know.
Yeah, and also the beauty of getting that 209, or technically it's the 207 here. It's a 14-team league, so it's really like a 209 and a 12-team league. But you're gonna get a pretty damn good player there. I mean, it's probably gonna be like a Tootin or Besh or Kyle Williams or somebody like that.
They could be better than Waddle. They could be like the best player in the deal.
Yeah,
Is a
thing,
209.
like, yeah, what if you like hit on Kyle Williams and he's like the next like Stephon Diggs, and like all of a sudden like he's worth more than Waddle, and you got like a free like top 7 first round pick next year. So there are a lot of ways that you can come ahead in that trade. Whereas like with Waddle,
you just need Waddle to be like amazing. Like you need him to be amazing.
And like, what are the odds of that? So there are a lot more ways you can win this deal and come out ahead, getting like the 2 pieces, the first plus the 207. So I love that. And yeah, I'm happy to exchange Aaron Jones for Ray Davis to get the rest of that deal done. So I thought that was a perfect trade for this orphan of yours.
Yeah, like I'll say, like I think this is like the poster board. Like you take over an orphan.
Yeah.
And like, especially if you have like any team like mine, like I don't even like Waddle might not even be like a starting player on my team. Like as crazy as that sounds, like I know he'll project as it, but like I don't know if he's gonna be any better than Mooney. He wasn't last year. Right. So like Swift's a starting running back, Brian Robinson. So like, he wasn't better than Sutton. So.
And also think of the risk if you hold Waddle and he has yet another disappointing season. What are you going to be able to get for him? Like a second, maybe, if you're lucky, something like that. Value could really crater.
He could be like, he's like already like Michael Pittman, I'll say, but like he's got the Waddle name value, so like he's like a true year away from like being just like no one wants him at all.
Yeah, but I mean Pittman had some like name value and cachet at one time, and now
that's why Waddle. That's why Waddle is about to be that if.
Yeah, that could be Waddle's future. It's like the ghost of Christmas future here is like what Pittman is right now.
Yeah, and just Waddle, like the Dolphin stuff. It's just a better situation and name. So, but like they have probably very similar production across their entire career. So like, and the similar age. So like, I really think it's not crazy at all to expect like Waddle. And I thought I was high on Waddle, but I've really looked it over, and I'm just not seeing many scenarios where he's blowing you away, and of course the Tyreek stuff is up in the air, but like it also if Tyreek goes, I don't think it means like Jalen Waddle is a smash anyways. Tyreek wasn't even good last year, so
I mean, they were just throwing a Jonnu and A-Chain, so like who knows how that would even go, and can Waddle even like stay healthy, and plus then he's like getting like double coverage and like things like that, and defense are probably like focused on him, so like I think there are a lot more ways that buying or holding Waddle can go wrong than go right.
Yeah, and there's a crazy world, like, again, this is where you got to go when you're an orphan. There's a crazy world where, like, Ray Davis is worth more than Jalen Waddle. Again, it's not likely at all, but if James Cook is hurt or traded or whatever happens, and he's smashing like I think he would coming in the starting role.
Oh, he would,
Well, then, like, who's to say you can't trade Ray Davis for Jalen Waddle, or even get more on top, because Ray Davis is scoring 15 plus points per game and Waddle's scoring 11 or whatever, right? So and Ray Davis is younger. So
it's honestly really not that crazy. Of course, again,
it's not going to happen probably. Yeah, it's not likely.
Not a likely thing, but like it's in the range of outcomes. It's not that crazy.
Exactly, and then Aaron Jones just falls off the cliff. So like, this is like, to me, like this is a fair deal, but when you're a rebuilder, like these are the deals you needed to take. And sure, it makes my lineup worse and whatnot, but like, does it really? Because again, we just went through the range of outcomes, and maybe I draft a good player at 2-9, or maybe I trade that into a 2026 second and get like a pick this year later, and then that pick hits, and I have a second to play. There's just like so much you can do with this package now.
Yeah, and you can kind of like Russian doll it, as we like to say, like turn like. One asset into 2 into 4, and just kind of like keep it going, keep just expanding it, and so I think it's a perfect trade for your team, and I think you're off to a good start with this orphan here. Yeah,
let's take a quick look at the team, because we know I traded away Tracy, Waddle, and Aaron Jones, but got back a first, 207, Ray Davis, and Brian Robinson. So I mean I don't necessarily have the lineup like fully set here.
Yeah.
But we got like Henry, who could be a starting tight end. Probably would be my starting tight end.
Mm.
Whatever, who knows? But same thing. And we have Ayuk on the bench here, who's like I don't even know what to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You got a trade offer for him. I don't know if you want to talk about that on stream or not. You don't have to, but
oh yeah,
I think it's an offer.
yeah. I mean, we like it's just not something you can even consider making because it's just Ayuk for a second. So like, you just get more for him, and then like Derrick Henry for a second. Like I'm just not gonna, you know.
You're talking about someone had offered you a first this year for two of your players.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did get these were set by the same manager, but there was one that it's not an actual offer, but like I don't know. It's a verbal.
You just mentioned the idea in a DM, basically.
Yeah, it's a mention. Whereas like Derrick Henry and Ayuk for the 105. So it's like, I mean, that certainly sounds very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Now, the thing I just have to work through is, okay, like what's Derrick Henry even worth in this league? Because it's a 0.15 point per carry, and if I trade him away, like again, I there's all the, I was just talking about all the variants and like competing, but like truly, like if you own Derrick Henry, like you feel like you have a chance to compete, kind of like whatever your team is.
Right.
It's like with the Josh Allen thing, where if you own Josh Allen, like any team can compete with him.
Yeah.
So like trading him away, it's like it literally is trading away my best player. So it does limit my contending options. And then again, Ayuk is not very like valuable in the market right now, but if he comes back from ACL, I mean he could step back. Hey, who knows? He could step back to be the one. Yes, that's what the world you got to live in when you own Ayuk on an orphan to realize what he is and what he can be. So. But then I'm also, it's like up tiering though. That's the other hesitant is I don't want to be up tiering with any of these.
Yeah.
But if I do up tier and kind of just like hurt my team now, I can get a really good stud, like rookie or what I assume to be.
Or you don't even have to make the pick of the 105. You could then trade it and then start rushing dolling that 105. So that might be like the real key there. So if he really makes that offer to you rather than just like saying it in a DM, I think you'd really have to seriously consider that.
Oh yeah, I am considering it for sure. But here's what makes it even more complicated. I just traded for his first. So now if I give him Derrick Henry,
right?
I mean that really complicates things now because even if I think it's a good deal. Right. Well, I might need a little extra on top now because I'm making your first better. Because I'm giving you Derrick Henry. Like,
I mean, what if he takes like Henderson or Judkins or someone like that and they end up having like an awesome rookie season? So maybe that's not, obviously Derrick Henry is more, probably likely to outproduce like a rookie like that this season. But I'm just saying, you never know.
Yeah, and then but he does get Ayuk for maybe a half a season, whatever it is, or whatever. But exactly, it's all things to consider. So I do think it's like it would be a good offer for the team, but like at the same time, it like doesn't really it actually like hurts me in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good deal, so something I don't even know if it's even a real offer. So we'll kind of see again. Like if it was in there. So anyways, this is basically a team, and then I have no first this year, but I have an extra one next year. So you guys saw that. Let's take a look at your team, Dan. So
this team, when I took it over, all it really had going for it was Jordan Love, Michael Penix, Drake London, all my original picks, and a few extra picks in 25. I think I had like maybe like 3 extra picks in 25.
Okay. Yeah. So right now you got Baker Mayfield, Love, Pickens, and Addison are the main guys. You got these other players like Wright and stuff, and Wicks and whatnot. But those are your main guys. But then you look at your picks. Well, let's focus first actually on this. Like you have an extra first, 2 extra seconds, an extra third, which I really like to see. And then you get into your 2 firsts that are really good firsts.
Yeah,
what is
104,
that?
106.
4 seconds, even if they're like technically not real seconds, but like it has number 2 on it.
Right.
And then what is that? 6 thirds again. It has the number 3 on it, so we'll just call them
Yeah.
all true thirds, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got a lot to work there with.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you got all that stuff, but you again, you
Yeah,
probably
I'm
made a
trying to
lot of good
remember
tear
now how I
downs.
got quite that many picks. I don't know. Maybe we can just kind of go back. Let's just look at some of the first trades I made. I mean, the first one I made, or one of the very first, at least first I can remember, was with Prep, and I traded him. Pull up like either like Penix or London, but basically I traded him Penix and London, and I got back Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison. I
Okay.
can't remember if there were any other pieces involved in the deal, if I got like anything on top, but like the heart of the deal was just like that 2-for-2 swap.
Just Taj
Um,
Washington was there. It was,
okay, Taj Washington. I
yeah,
ended up
another.
dropping him anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I guess I just thought, I mean, I guess you could kind of argue either side of that trade, but I just kind of felt like I was at least gaining a little value there. I like the potential for Marvin Harrison, especially being like younger than London. And then Kyler Murray, that just seemed like a good price to buy him for Penix. So yeah, but then I quickly flipped Marvin Harrison. If you want to pull up like his player card and like pull up the history tab, I basically, from what I remember, traded Marvin Harrison. Even though I love him and he's not someone I'm trying to sell in Dynasty at all, I'm actually, trying. I would love to buy as many shares of Marv as I can get because I feel like he's cheaper than he should be probably in most leagues. But I traded Marv for like the 103 and 203. Basically, is what I remember. I mean, there may have been a little extra pick or two or something thrown in that deal.
Yeah.
But basically got the 103 and 203 for him.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
there may have been some other things.
it's you got the okay. So then there was like a second swap involved.
Okay, I think
Schultz,
I got a.
Deontay, and you gave a third away.
Wait, did you say I got Deontay Johnson in that deal?
Yeah, for Schultz basically.
Yeah, I mean Schultz, I just like I value him at absolute, at nothing. So to get Deontay Johnson for him, buy him low, and now he's on the Browns and at least has a chance to maybe recapture some of his old glory. So I feel like that was like a sneaky little value when they're getting Deontay. And yeah, I think there was like some other kind of pick swap that I got upgraded, but mostly it was 103 and 203. So
Yeah.
I just felt like with those picks, especially like on the clock, I could probably like do more with that. And in fact, I already traded away the 103, did a deal, just like a couple of weeks ago or something like that.
Which really big.
I traded my 102 and 103, and I got back the 104, 106, and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely love that trade. So I don't know if Cooper is watching right now, otherwise known as Hawkeyes on Sleeper. But yeah, he's usually in the live chat of our streams. We even had him on an episode, if you guys remember. Yeah, so I don't know if he's watching right now, but I was definitely very happy with that trade. Oh, I also I sent away Aaron Rodgers in that deal.
Yeah.
So I sent away Rodgers, 102, 103, got back 104, 106, and Baker. So yeah, I just thought that deal made too much sense, especially in a 14-team league where QBs are really scarce. To get Baker Mayfield, like I was just loving that.
Yeah, and basically, again, it's not exact, but it really just kind of clearing the junk out. You got Baker Mayfield from down tiering from the 102 to 106.
Right.
Is basically like what the trade was.
Yeah.
I know there is the 3-4 and the Rodgers, but that's a pretty, in a league where quarterbacks are hard, I thought it was a pretty damn good move, especially like just looking at your team. You can still get like for me, like the top 7's like where you want to be in this draft. You're making a pick,
right?
So the fact that you still come away with 2 of those, in fact, the way that the board falls, who the hell knows? You might get like 2 players you were considering at 2 and 3 anyways,
right? For sure.
Or like guys that you would consider at like 3 and 4, and like you're still getting one of them, like whatever. It doesn't feel like it's like that big of a down tier,
right?
And you're getting swapping Rodgers into Mayfield, which is awesome in this league.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was a good move. So I mean, I certainly would have done that, especially looking at your team.
Yeah, and that was one of those moves where I was like, you know what? Like, I might not be that far away from contending because like at that point, I have like all these rookie picks. I got some sneaky value wins and like getting Deontay Johnson thrown in for free, getting Calvin Austin for just like some backup QBs. And then also getting Jalen Wright thrown into a deal. So that was like right before the NFL draft. I basically traded away my 110 for George Pickens and Jalen Wright. So yeah, I guess at the time, like maybe that was like a little bit of an overpay for George Pickens. I mean, I still felt like he was worth a late first. I mean, if I owned any Pickens at the time, I certainly wouldn't have sold him for anything less than a late first. So I was happy to just sort of get Pickens with that pick, but also get Jalen Wright thrown in on top, who, is one of my favorite running backs to just kind of get thrown in. Little bit of a disappointing rookie season, but I think he could be a lot better in year 2. So he's a guy I love to get thrown into deals. So I just thought that made sense. And then sure enough, Pickens gets traded like I thought he would. I mean, that's part of the reason why I was making that bet to acquire him. And yeah, love him on the Cowboys. And now I'm excited about that. And that's another move where it's like, I wasn't trying to contend really, but like, I feel like I'm kind of closer to it now after that deal as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. And here's like probably your biggest deal in my opinion, from what I've seen, is you send away Kyler Murray, who is awesome, and I think he can easily have like top 10, top 8 performances. Still moving forward, only 27 years old. But you get that sneaky like down tier Rodgers you were mentioning earlier that I could do or something. And again, I'm just gonna pretend he's on the Steelers at this point. Like, there's a chance he isn't, but I mean, you almost let's just call it you sent Wandale for Rodgers, which I think would be a good deal. Okay. And then for Kyler Murray, and for whatever Rattler's worth, nothing to me.
Right.
You get Addison, a first, a second, and third in this league where I don't know. It's only start 9, but it's a 14-teamer. Yeah. Like, you get a starter for a starter, and then you get a first, second, third to work with. I know you're going to be creative with that. And they just give so many options.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like dying to move Kyler. I mean, I was happy to just build around the 2 quarterbacks of Jordan Love and Kyler Murray at that point. But Dinah really seemed to want Kyler. He really didn't have much of a QB2. It was just Aaron Rodgers. And so I think it was important to get Rodgers thrown in that deal. Because if I didn't get Rodgers in that deal, I don't know if I'm able to get that deal for Baker Mayfield done. Because I think it was like being able to give
quarterback
a quarterback back in that deal that he was able to kind of justify that move. So that just goes to show you that even though it seems like, oh, I'm probably rebuilding, like what use do I have for Aaron Rodgers? But then I use Aaron Rodgers to turn him like into Baker Mayfield. Like, I mean, of course, not straight up, but you know what I mean? He was sort of that like final piece that allowed me to get Baker Mayfield in another deal. So yeah, that worked out really well. And yeah, basically the way I'm looking at that big trade is I'm essentially down tiering Kyler Murray into a first and Jordan Addison, who is, I think by himself is at least worth like a late first. And then I even get like the second and third thrown in next year. Yeah. So I basically have, the manager's Dinah. I basically have all of his 26 picks because we don't have a 4th round in any of the rookie drafts. Mm-hmm. So I have his first, second, and third. And that's another manager like kind of like prep.
Zero depth.
Exactly. I think that's what you're about to say is that starting lineup's like really damn solid, but it
has Rashad White and Wandale in it, and in a start 9, 2 of those players in the start 9, and yes, if you were to say if he has an injury, I mean he's basically screwed.
And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any picks this year, right? So it's not even like he's going to get some rookies to replenish things.
He does have his 2027, which I've got in my inbox, but not too eager to send away my 2 best running backs for 2027 first.
Right.
So it's going to be a tough time for him to.
So Dyna's team could be good, but I mean, even a starting lineup, like you mentioned, it even has a couple of questionable players in there, and there's just like nothing on the bench. So that's a nice first to own. So that was a pretty easy move to make. But I was fine holding Kyler and building around him, but when I had someone interested, that was a situation where like I'm not going to just like take anything I can get for Kyler to like move off of him and get the points off my roster. Like only if someone like really like I don't say blew me away, but like really gave me a very like rock solid offer, and I think that's exactly what I got.
Yeah, like I think people like will look at this deal and be like, yeah, that's fair, or even they might want Kyler and knowing it's a 14-team league, but I think it's just like my Waddle one. It's nothing really the same because it's different positions and everything involved. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the exact same thing where you get a quarterback back to kind of replace the position for position.
Yeah.
And then you get those load of picks on top. I think it's really good trade.
But yeah, they definitely are similar trades though. Just in terms of, I mean, both are essentially like down tiering trades. You're sending away like one piece and getting multiple pieces back. So I just think there are a lot more ways you can win a trade like that, and those are the trades you really have to embrace when you're taking over an orphan.
Sorry, 1 second.
Oh yeah, you're good. Okay, let's see here. I'll take a look at the chat. I don't think we've had like too much action here. Seems like things do tend to be a bit quieter on Tuesdays. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, let us know if you're watching. Like, if you guys are enjoying like the having the stream on some occasional Tuesdays, or if Wednesday is really just like a much better day. But yeah, it definitely seems like we don't get quite as much like engagement on Tuesdays. But for anyone that is watching, like, appreciate you guys being here. Definitely feel free to like comment like any questions in the chat if you have any questions about your dynasty team, or especially if you've taken over an orphan and looking for any advice on that. We're happy to help.
Yeah. Actually, I thought of something interesting we could do, Dan. Got an offer from front of the channel, Hawkeyes.
Okay.
I want your thoughts on this trade
All
here
right.
because he has suggested, and I'm sure Hawkeyes will see this, watch this. He's suggested that this is a fair trade. Actually, this is a better deal than the original one, but we'll use this one because I don't think it's really any different at all, really. Basically, the only difference in this one is now he has a swap of 5 picks up in the late third to the mid third, and I don't give up Michael Mayer now, for what that's worth. So.
Okay, so what's the offer?
Oh, you can't see it. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. Sorry, I thought you could see. This will make a lot more sense to you when you can see it. So, just replace the 309 with Michael Mayer, and remove the 304 from the deal. If you can do that visually, like in your head, like Mayer here, no 304. That was the original offer. This is where we're at now. So Michael Mayer has been removed, and basically there's a 5-pick swap. So for what?
Okay, so yeah, you no longer have to give away Michael Mayer.
And I upgrade 5 picks. That's it.
I see. Yeah, so you're not getting a pick, but you're upgrading a pick instead.
Yeah, so not much there, just considering the pick, like, again, 14-team league, but it's better than with the original deal. But tell me if you see this any differently. I'm interested. But basically, yeah, this is the 206 for Sutton. We saw him get traded for the 203, which we didn't think was a good deal at all. But when you're in that mid-second range, like, let's say you're contending, like, I'd rather have Cortland Sutton than, like, Trey Harris, personally. Like, I don't think that's crazy at all. Like, if you were to have to pick between 1 and 1, that's kind of where the player's going. If you were looking at taking a receiver. So I think the 206 for Sutton's, like, spot on for our market value right now, regardless, even my opinion on a player or whatever. That's what I'd be looking to get for Sutton. Is that
right?
You can agree with that?
Yeah, I can sign off on that.
Yeah. So, again, this pick swap, it's something, but it has nothing to do with Chris Olave, basically. You know? So basically, now we've eliminated this trade to Christian Kirk and Jalen McMillan for Chris Olave.
Yeah. Not the most inspiring thing in the world. I mean, especially after, like, maybe if the Texans didn't draft Noel, like, you kind of tell yourself a story that, like, Christian Kirk's gonna be this PPR beast this year. The Texans, but like,
if they didn't draft anyone, and the Buccaneers didn't bring back Godwin, they didn't draft Ibuka. I mean, maybe we have a conversation then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But that's not at all what happened. These are both dynasty wide receiver 4 and like dynasty wide receiver 4 on their teams.
I mean, it kind of feels like both Kirk and McMillan have kind of been like nuked by the NFL draft. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, this offer would make sense and would be, semi-intriguing had that not happened. But like, it did happen, and yeah, I just don't think it's a very strong offer. I mean, I don't blame Cooper for trying, because like, he doesn't have the greatest. He took over an orphan in this league as well.
That's right.
So, yeah, he doesn't have a lot to work with either, so can't blame him for trying. But yeah, not the strongest offer.
No, exactly. But yeah, because I was trying to like be like, man, I don't know what we're doing here, and he's like, I think it's fair deal. I'm like, these are the rest is just smoke screens. He's like, oh, well, Sutton for 204. I'm like, no, that's not the 204. That's the 206. Like that's fair. Who cares about this pick swap? it's literally it's Kirk and McMillan for Olave. So I went back in our other league where I own McMillan, and I gave him basically like a similar offer. I'll just show you just out of curiosity because I think it's a little funny here because this is my favorite thing to do like in.
Give the other manager a taste of his own medicine there, right?
Yeah, because I'm like, if you think it's a fair deal, then you'll think you'll think this is a fair deal, right? So I gave him the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Like breaking down the trade.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I think mine's better. So like, I literally broke it down here, but I guess I'll show you it first. So like, this was the offer I sent him, right? Mm-hmm. So. What it is okay. Instead of Olave, get Worthy. They're damn near worth the same thing right now. In fact, Olave still goes earlier in both starts I've done for what that's worth.
Oh wow.
And then you want to say the Carr thing, like no one liked Carr anyways. So like, I again call it a downgrade. It probably is, but like I don't think people are really pricing him lower. He was already extremely low because of the quarterback situation, anyways.
Yeah.
So Worthy for Olave. Again. McMillan for Worthy was like basically the original, or for Olave was like the original deal. So I have that swap in there, right? And then Diggs to Pittman. Again, Pittman's not a hot name, but again, I'm thinking we get to see we have data of startup drafts. He's going in the 10th round. Diggs is like actively going the 15th to 16th round. So like that's a pretty big gap in the startup value, right?
Yeah.
It's better than the 3.9 to the 3.4.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And then Giddens, or like I give him Giddens to go to Lloyd. Giddens is like anywhere between an early to mid to late. I mean, who knows? He kind of goes everywhere. Third round pick. Lloyd is currently available still in the 18th round of my startup. So,
grab him there. Grab him soon.
Considering it, we can go into that a little bit if we want. But anyway, so my point is like, hey, I give him the upgrades, and I think they're better upgrades than what he offered me.
Right.
I broke it down right here. Okay, it's Worthy for equals Olave. Again, Sutton's better than Diggs. And then wait, did I mess this up? Hold on. I think no I didn't. So like Lloyd and Mayer, they're both available in 18th round of my startup, so we'll call them a wash, right? No one really cares about either of them. And then, all right, McMillan is equals McMillan. Pittman is equal to like the 206 in a startup. Like that's about what he is. Right. That's who he is. If you want to argue like for a pick or two, who cares, And then Giddens is going like in startup value is worth more than Kirk. Yeah. So, I'm getting worse stuff or like kind of the same. And I'm giving up like slightly better to the same stuff anyway. So it's call it the exact same offer.
Pretty much.
And then he said, let me see, we gotta explain. No, just kidding. But I just thought his response was funny. He said, I'd have to be pretty low on Worthy and high on Pittman to like that one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that was a fun experiment, right? If it was a fair deal, I mean, I thought he should have taken that.
Right. Hey. I mean,
or counter.
Using his own logic there, he should have been pretty excited about that offer. So
exactly. So
I think, I think you showed your point pretty well there.
It was just one of those ones where like normally you're not like in a league with a bunch of people, but I'm like I just so happen to have McMillan. Like I gotta give him the offer back. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, so I love you, Coop, but I had to give it to you. I had to test your own logic there.
Cooper had to try. He doesn't have a lot to work with, and of course he makes that deal with me where he gives me Baker Mayfield. So I don't know if he has any regrets about that, but like at least in our opinion, that trade probably didn't help his team either. So yeah, I don't know, looking a little dicey, but thankfully he does have that 102 and 103 to work with. So hopefully he can make use of those. I mean, certainly if I were in his position, I would certainly be looking to trade those picks probably on the clock. And seeing like what kind of like crazy package can I get for someone wanting to trade up into these premium picks.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing about that deal. Yeah, I wouldn't have taken your side, but we were talking about range of outcomes and stuff like that. It's not 100%. Like at 2 and 3, you can draft like 2 future first round starter picks, and Baker comes down to earth a bit, and maybe you bust one of your 4th or 6th picks, and all of a sudden it's like you're living in a world where like holy crap, like 1 year out, you'd way rather have picks 2 and 3 over your package. So again, always good to keep that in mind as far
Oh yeah,
as
for
like
sure. I mean, maybe it looks good in my favor right now, at least in our opinion, but like that doesn't mean it's
I
going to turn out that way. So
yeah.
anything's possible.
And
Yeah.
you know that best about your famous deal where you sent what was it? It was basically Caleb for you got Caleb, was it? Caleb, not Stroud?
Oh, are you talking about the Stroud deal?
I think it was two then. Do you have Caleb? Did you have Caleb and Stroud in that?
Well, I traded. Okay, after I made the bad Stroud deal, which was like my worst trade ever,
Yeah.
I then out of frustration more than anything, just wanted to get like Stroud off my roster, not to look at his name ever again. I traded Stroud, basically turned him into Caleb, and then I traded Caleb, turned him into the 101. And then I probably I would have drafted Genty, but then I ended up trading the 101 for like a package of like what was it, like 4 or 5 really good players.
Well, no. Like, didn't you trade? Didn't you trade for the 101 or
And what?
Stroud or something in Degens? Like, what was it? Where you sent away the picks for Knicks, Brian Thomas, and
Oh, that one. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, last year in the rookie draft for the Bums and Ballers League, had the 101, which I had traded for. And yeah, I basically gave up Baker Mayfield and I think it was like the 111 and 112, something like that, 2 late firsts. And it ended up being Bo Nix and Brian Thomas. So yeah.
yeah,
Plus
yeah,
Baker.
and like everyone was just like, yeah, you fleeced them at the time. So it's always good, though, especially when it's like first. That's where it like really gets like you can't be very certain with who's winning deals when it comes to first because
Oh yeah.
I mean those guys can just like go up insanely high value or bust. And then another one is I was thinking about. I don't know if we talked about it, but Prep, who's in this league, he made what was just like a crazy trade that no one should ever have made at the time, and he sent like Bijan Robinson for like the 111 and 112 last year,
Yeah.
and like Bijan was like literally a top like 14 pick in Dynasty, so like
Yeah.
you should be getting, not only should you be getting like 3 firsts for him, like
Yeah.
at minimum you should be getting like 3 late firsts for him, so like add a 110 in there, right, to like then have a conversation about like trading him,
Yeah.
and or just like anything, instead of like the 11 and 12, and like I can't, he might have traded some stuff around, but like basically with those 2 firsts, he did end up getting like 2 of like what would be like Odunze, but probably more like Bowers slash Knicks slash
Yeah, I think he basically got like Bowers and Knicks. with the
Bowers
picks.
slash Knicks slash May slash Odunze. It was like 2 of those
Brian
4.
Thomas. Yeah.
Or Brian
Although he-
Thomas. So like, let's just call it Brian Thomas and Knicks because those guys were probably the most like accurate. Like whatever, they were in there anyways. Like whatever players you want to use.
Right.
Like he ended up destroying that trade, even though it was like an awful bet to make, in my opinion, at the time.
Right.
Like it still worked out. So I think that's always fun to like keep in mind how that can.
Oh, yeah. You just never know. Yeah, when it comes to these firsts, whether they're current firsts or future, like there's just such a wide range of outcomes for how that's going to go. And yeah, I just pulled up the rookie draft last year from Blood, Sweat, and Beers to see exactly what it was. Okay, yeah. So Prep took. Yeah, he took Brock Bowers at the 109 and Bo Nix at the 110. So were those the 2 specific firsts, or
He must have like traded around or traded with you. Or
okay, he must have
like
like
that.
traded up or something like that. But one way or another, yeah, he basically got Brock Bowers and Bo Nix.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't complain about that. But yeah, I mean, man, what a risk. But I mean, yeah, even if you're making moves that are like, imagine if you like got fair market value for Brian or for Bijan on that, and you added Lyle McConkey to that at the 201 or something.
Right.
Like I think that's where you got him. Like my goodness. So
I just got a really bad trade offer from Dyna in this 14-team league. You want to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe it might be funnier if I first tell you. I'll tell you what I'm giving Dyna in this deal, and then try to guess what he's offering me.
Okay, and real quick, for people watching, for context, you own his first, second, and third next year, so like
Right.
you have 0 incentive to help him out.
Exactly. So he is requesting that I send him the 203 and Jalen Wright. So even
Okay.
though that's really like the 205, if it was a 12-team league, still okay. Call that the 205 and Jalen Wright.
Okay.
Still gonna be a pretty good player there. He's offering me one player for that package. What player do you think it is?
Rashad White.
No. Good guess though. That is a very good guess.
Okay, wait. Let me guess again here.
It's someone you might not think of, but once you think of like recent news, it'll make a lot of sense.
Oh God, it can't be. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. It can't be Spencer Rattler.
It is Spencer Rattler.
Oh no.
Can you
Ah!
believe it? My God.
I mean, that is a special trade offer, to say the least. I was almost thinking it was Elijah Moore. I was like, no,
God,
I'm like,
yeah.
it can't be him. Like the
Yeah,
Rattler
I mean,
one.
we know Dinah is high on Elijah Moore. At least he claims to be. But
Yeah.
he always wants to get a lot of credit for Elijah Moore whenever he's put into a trade offer. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could just instant decline it. I don't know if there's like I kind of feel like this might deserve kind of a funny counter, or I don't know if he has the sense of humor for that. But
yeah, I mean Rattler. I mean,
Or
I shouldn't say he's worth nothing, but like, I mean, we literally saw him start last year. You know, there's
well, what would be
much-
like if I wanted to give him a taste of his own medicine? What would be like the equivalent offer to send back to him? But basically, someone who's value. Oh, how about I'll offer Mason Rudolph. That's perfect because like Aaron Rodgers has signed, so he can tell himself a story that he's gonna be the starting quarterback for the Steelers this year. Okay. And I will ask for. Okay, so it has to be a throw-in player and like a second-round pick, right? Okay, perfect. He has a second and 27. And what player can I get thrown in? That's
You're gonna have to do. There's not much to choose from here. You're gonna have to do like Rashad White.
Okay.
And like a second or something because.
Yeah.
Or yeah, call it Rashad.
How about what if I did or should I do Elijah Moore or I don't know.
No, do okay. Just do Wandale then, because Wandale's not even worth as like he's probably more close to Jalen Wright.
He's a starter for him, you know.
Yeah, I guess Jalen Wright and Wandale are probably like not too far off on value.
Yeah.
So.
I'll do. Let's see. Does he have any interesting quarterbacks?
I mean, you're actually like giving a better deal. You're giving him. You're asking for a lesser of a player.
Yeah.
Like than the pick, and you're also getting Wandale instead of Jalen Wright, and Jalen Wright would be worth more. So,
how about Deshaun Watson? That just seems like a funny player to throw.
Yeah.
All right, so should I do that? Mason Rudolph for Deshaun Watson in a 27-second?
Yeah, 100%. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I might have even got. Let's see. Okay. No, it was Josh. I'll check that out after, but. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got one. I got one that looks like he pulled, but basically the offer was I get his first, second, and third in 2027. Again, he's got a good team. Things can change, but like, here's the thing. I want to get future picks when I take over Northford, yes. But like, do I want to get good teams 2027 first for like my like players that I can get 2025 first for right now? Like, absolutely not, because I can turn those 2025s into 2027 plus. And it was basically what it looked like was it was like Cook, Henry, and I was giving more stuff. Let me just pull it up because I think it's still there. Let's see what. And I gave up Ray Davis. So I gave up Cook, Ray Davis, Derrick Henry. I get Spencer Rattler. Wow, he's really worth a lot right now. And I get a first, second, and third in 2027. In a 14-team league. It could be the 202 in 2027. So not too much interest there.
Pretty much,
sure.
yeah. If you're talking in terms of what it would be in a 12-team league.
Imagine you like converted like there was like an equation which there probably someone could create of like those picks into like 2025 value.
Yeah.
And it would be like, okay, you send away all the packet my three good players. Mm-hmm. You get back the 2-9, the 305 and the 310 or something. Like if you like put that into like 2025 picks or something. Mm-hmm. Just as far as like you can use those picks now versus you have to wait 2 years for a potentially really bad pick anyways. So,
right.
Just
Yeah,
yeah.
and that also kind of brings up an interesting discussion of like even if you value the 2027 rookie class more than the 2026 rookie class, does it still make sense to if you have a choice
Yeah.
between acquiring a first and like 26 or 27, is it better to get it in 26 because that's
Yeah.
sooner? And then can you turn it into like can you turn a 26 first into a 27 first plus something on top potentially?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
uh,
I love trading for any first, but the thing is it's literally all like what you're giving up. Like if I'm trading for a first 2 years out, I don't care if it's the best draft class known to man. Like we don't even know. We're
yeah,
2 years away, right? So much
yeah,
crazy stuff happens. Keishon Boutte was supposed to be like a sick prospect.
right, right,
Carson Beck was supposed to be like. There's just so many things like variables. Like I don't care how good you think these players are. Sure,
yeah,
it can incentivize me to trade for those like more. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna take a 2026 first over a 2020 sorry, a 2027
yeah,
over 2026. But
right,
like at least use a little bit of like your judgment too, because if you think that's gonna be a 27 101 guaranteed for somehow, if you know that,
mm,
maybe there's a good deal on the table where you can like actually sit on that pick and then like kind of make up what you gave away by like doing a different trade. You know, for example, instead of picking a player in 2025, you like I don't know, you like use that to like trade back and pick up a player.
yeah,
Or sorry, or maybe you like trade your 2025 pick into a 2027 one and you get a player on top. Like
yeah,
there's like different ways to do it, but like I'm not trading like a good
yeah,
player for a 2027 first that could be
yeah,
like late and whatever. Like who cares?
yeah,
Um, just take the 2026 one because if it's what if you hit the 101? What's the
yeah,
person with a late projected 2027 first gonna say? No, you can't have it. It's a sick
right,
draft class. Like no, you
right,
can't. I
right,
can't give you that for the 101. It's just
yeah,
insanity.
yeah. You really do have to value the rookie class pick that's earlier more in just about
Yeah.
like every case because it's just going to come to fruition sooner. And it doesn't mean that you have to wait and to actually make the pick or until it's on the clock, but just
It's
the closer you
yeah.
get to that pick being on the clock, the closer that it becomes apparent that like, oh, this pick might be this
Yeah.
pick is looking to be early or mid or like whatever, and you're just more likely to
It
get a great return on it at a
yeah.
sooner time.
It gets a pick assigned to it quicker, a whole year
Yeah,
quicker.
right.
And if you get lucky or you make the right bet, how is someone going to argue with you that the 106 next year is not worth the 2027 first? Like that's like look at the class right now. Everyone said this class sucked, and it's like really difficult to get any first at all.
Yeah, sure.
Especially a top seven. Imagine if Buka went to like a good team. I would argue the top eight would be extremely difficult to get, just as hard to get as those top seven one. Or if like another player landed in a really good spot, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, it's really hard to get these picks.
Oh yeah.
So
So yeah, that's the thing is like if people are um basically like poo-pooing the 2026 class,
yeah,
it's a great time to buy 26 picks.
yeah. I don't actually. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say yeah, exactly. Get 2026 first, number one.
Yeah.
And second of all, I think the real time to actually trade for 2027 first is not when you're in the off season where everyone's like thinking about the draft and stuff. Like
Right.
do it next season, like or in the off season, or sorry, in
In the season.
season now, and where they're like, oh, I don't want to give you my 2026 one. They're like attaching names to like
Yeah.
picks and stuff, and you could be like, like whatever, like I'll go to the 2027 one,
Right. Right.
and again they have like points and scoring points on their mind and a championship on their mind. Like that's when you do it. So like
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like in the off season, that's when everyone's sort of thinking like big picture,
yeah.
long term, and they're thinking like rookie picks, even like future rookie picks at times. So I agree.
Yeah, exactly. All about timing on those. So I think it's a really, again, I'm not saying 100% of the time,
Yeah.
like 26 or 27, no matter what, but like
Right.
just in general, it's
Yeah.
you're crazy if you're thinking I want a
Yeah. Like
27 or 26.
as a general rule of thumb, if you just
Yeah,
like always bet on like the earlier class, like you're gonna
yeah,
come out ahead more often than not.
yeah, no, exactly. And then I don't know. Yeah, we could look a little bit here if we want to keep going just for a little bit more. Kind of like a, take a look. I guess I'll just try to explain a little bit about this roster to you, Dan, and the audience of what maybe they think. Josh and I just had an insane startup and execution through the rookie draft. Um, Dan, actually, you achieved this as well with your best ball roster. But like, apparently, there's a tag on Dynasty Daddy I didn't know about. I never had seen it. I've looked at a lot of stuff on Dynasty Daddy, like leagues, power ranking, stuff like that, just for fun. I've never seen a super team build. Somehow, Josh and I, out of the startup and rookie draft, and in a tight end premium, we're loaded at like the PPR scam tight ends, which are not valued at all in that database.
Right.
We got the super team tags, and we don't even have a QB two,
Yeah,
or like a real
true.
one, and we somehow got the super team tag, which says a lot about like our roster. And
Oh yeah.
Dan, you got that as well too. So like I've never even seen that ever in a lot of leagues that I'm in. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just noticed it for it's not my best ball team.
oh
It's my team in King of the Hill. That's where I have like I was able to get Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts on the same squad.
yeah
And yeah, that team's pretty loaded top to bottom. It's probably my best team. So yeah, I just noticed that after the rookie draft that had the super team tag on it as well. So that was kind of fun. I've never seen that on Dynasty Daddy before either until you mentioned it.
yeah no exactly. So I thought it was cool that we both randomly got that and
Yeah.
didn't even know that was a thing. But
Yeah.
I got like big expectations for now doing a startup after exact same
Right.
format. Exact same format. I love this format, by the way. Like, just this is kind of my new thing of like, if I join a league, I want it to be this 2 PPR start
Tight end,
11
yeah.
team,
Yeah.
12 team, and you can throw bonuses and stuff if you want. This doesn't have bonuses. I just think it's a little more like simple to
Yeah.
calculate stuff and
Lies, yeah.
a little more boring. I don't know. I mean, I don't like necessarily mind boring if it's like in Dynasty because I want I want that in, like redraft. I want like really like random stuff in redraft and exciting
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
Or like best ball and like I want like if I'm in a best ball dynasty league, which I am, like yeah, throw all the crazy settings in there. But like when I'm like
Okay.
creating my best
Yeah.
my dynasty team, starting the lineup, like I want things like at least pretty close to normal, whatever
Yeah,
that is at the time.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, there are some. I mean, big play bonuses are like one thing that I've come around to a bit that I think are fun. But yeah, generally speaking, I think I agree with
Yeah,
your point because when you get to be in like 10 plus dynasty leagues, it is hard to like keep track of all the different
exactly.
settings, just like remember them, but then
Yeah,
also make decisions based on the those very specific scoring settings that are unique and have a big impact on fantasy points and war and all that kind of stuff. So it can be harder to like process all of that for so many different leagues. So if everything's just kind of like more vanilla or standard or whatever, it does make it easier to kind of have that portfolio.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it also just not like I want to like build good teams and know what I'm doing like with that. And if I'm not like if I'm in a bunch of crazy leagues, bunch of settings, yeah, it's gonna be like really hard to do that. And like again, I'm not saying I'm against big bonus plays and stuff like that. I just so happen to play in like leagues like really like no leagues with it. It's like one or two.
Yeah.
I think I got like two now.
Okay.
Like which is it was fine, and I know it's gonna be fun and stuff. But like, the other thing is just like I like when you're drafting, like you get like random like non-explosive players scoring 40 plus yard touchdowns 1 year and then never again in their career. Like there's like so much randomness like that's already in fantasy football, and it's like now we're
Yeah.
adding even more on that weekly thing. It's like I guess like what's a little bit more variance, but
Well, I mean, you know, I agree with you. I mean, I don't like to create like more luck in fantasy football because there's already a lot of it in
yeah,
it. But the way I see the big play bonuses is that it doesn't punish those players like Xavier Worthy,
yeah,
Jameson Williams, even
yeah,
like a lower end guy like Calvin Austin or whatever. It
yeah,
makes them a little more viable. So that's the one thing I like about it. And it does kind of make things a little more fun. Like when you get that like Jameson Williams
yeah,
like 70-yard touchdown, like in one league I have, and the one where I have the super team, it's like I think you get like two different bonuses, like one for like a whatever it is, like 40-yard play, and then one for like a 40-yard touchdown play. And so I think you get like a +8 on top of like the yards and the touchdown. So it's
wow,
like it can be a really big swing in your
yeah.
matchup, which can be a lot of fun. So I
It could
do
be a
kind of
lot of
like.
fun or it could be a lot of pain.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, I have Jameson
Yeah.
Williams and Calvin Austin in that league, so I'm kind of liking the bonuses.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're set
Yeah.
up. Also, Cooper, welcome. He's poking some fun because I was saying when we were like kind of joking about the like the trade, and I had then sent him back. I was like, hey, like Olave is even going ahead of Worthy in startups,
Right.
but they're like, really close value, and he's saying, he must be mistaken on our discussion because look at this, Olave went ahead of Worthy. But again, that he did have Derek Carr there. But even regardless, like Derek Carr or Shook or whoever, it doesn't really matter. No one was bumping up Olave because they had Carr. I'll tell you that.
Right.
So, anyways, this was the strategy going team here with like my co-manager and I. We got really lucky. I think on Bo Nix there, like that was just I could not believe we got that value.
Yeah, where'd you get him?
310.
310. That's amazing.
That was amazing. I think we did. I think we did eventually then have to just trade up like a couple slots, and it cost us like nearly nothing. But like we needed to make sure we traded up and like got him.
Oh yeah.
We got Nico at 212, which I thought was like a phenomenal deal with how I view Nico. Chase, we had to trade up once. We traded back and then traded up one spot for Chase. Thought that was a phenomenal deal. Like I think he's basically like arguably the number one player in this format. Like how I want to build my teams.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you get him at the 1.7. I mean, we've had this discussion before that you could really make an argument that Jamar Chase should be the 101.
Yeah, exactly. Like because of ways you can build your team and stuff like that. I know he's never gonna get picked there, but when you can get him at 1.7, like I feel like I'm getting the arguably the 101 at a big discount. Yeah, Bo Nix. So if you look at the team here, you're thinking like, okay, that's not a great team. We're in round 18. We do have, by the way, stacked up some extra picks there, and we have a ton of picks here, including the 103, the 110, and a bunch of like thirds and now early fourths. But you're like, where did all your picks go? We own 4 2026 firsts.
Wow.
Of various managers, including ourselves, and we traded away our second, but got our managers back. And I think we have a couple extra like fourths.
Okay.
So yeah, again, this is 2 PPR. Oh yeah, and Coop's saying 310 Bo Nix. That's my exact reaction. How is he? Like that's just like I won't even like go into that whole conversation, but like, how is Drake May going at 2.8 when Nix is like I'm failing to understand how that's possible. Like regardless of how anything plays out, like the process behind that, in my opinion, is just like atrocious, as bad as you can get. Like again, I know who Drake May is, I know what he can do, but that's a whole other conversation. These tight ends, I just think are the most undervalued thing in this format. So I think that's why I love the format.
Right,
is you can get
advantage of it.
You can take advantage of the biggest PPR scammer. And here's the thing: I know that like one or two of these guys is gonna like turn into literally zero in season, or in fact, maybe all these guys get hurt. But if they don't, if it was just two of these guys like play out the season, I mean, dude, like this is just like an absolute glitch. Like having these guys.
You're talking about David Njoku, Evan Ingram. John. These are definitely PPR and tight end premium scams, and also I like the stack that you get Ingram and Bo Nix. That's kind of fun too.
And we get Tua and Jonnu.
Oh, nice.
Which is like completely unintentional, but like just so happens to be intentional when we're like, the tight ends we like are just happen to be with the tight ends or the quarterbacks we picked. Also, we didn't even mean to pick Tua this early. Like we were trying to trade back to take him like 5 or so picks later, but we fell asleep. So I still think he's like a good value at like 6'6". Like I think you can get like a ton of the concussion stuff baked in, which I'm just like not too worried about.
Yeah. This is 6 points per passing touchdown, right?
Exactly. At 4 point, it's a whole other conversation, and he doesn't move the chains for me there, or move the needle for me there. But anyways, Christian Kirk 17-7, wasn't even that excited to take him, but just like
that's a nice deal.
We had Nico too, so we're just like whatever. Like we don't want to have any receivers.
Bet on the Texans offense there, and who knows? Like if Christian Kirk comes out and has like a big week 1 because he's starting over Noel, like maybe you can flip him for something.
Exactly, and I have some Noel, so it just like made sense to kind of. When you're getting, you get them so cheap. So like, basically the issue of this draft is we just have James Conner. We both like Ray Davis. So, all right, like we have 1 running back, but again, we have a bunch of rookie picks. We could get 2 running backs with that. We have 4 firsts. It's kind of like that Walter White's lab startup, which we had on the channel. Right. And we damn near won that championship. Again,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, we can blame him and James Conner for getting hurt. But I mean, we had like 4 starters like coming out of that people thought we were like going for the 1-on-1, and we turned that team into like a championship worthy team. So I feel like there's just a really good basis with this team here of like we have all the pieces to start. We're basically missing, in my opinion, when I'm looking, we're missing like 3 players in our starting lineup, but we have 2 really good draft picks, a lot of darts. We still have picks here, by the way, which I know you're in the 18th round. People are thinking, who are you going to get to start? I mean, we got 45 players in the queue, you know? So, it's given away.
Yeah, there's somebody available.
Oh, man. I mean, there's one I'm really excited about. Actually, I mean, there might be like 2 I'm really, really excited about. Actually, no, there's like 4 I'm really excited about. And I don't even think I need to take them this round. But, like, these are guys, like, you could start, you could project to start them week 1 in this format.
Yeah.
So, like, we're really, like, doing, like, I don't even know if you want to call it stars and scrubs, because it's like Njoku and Ingram and Jonnu. People don't think they're stars, but in this format, I think they're stars.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's like a loaded, flex spots there with
dude,
Ingram, Jonnu, and then having Njoku in the tight end slot. Like, that's a nice 3 players in a row to see in this format.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. I mean that's got me salivating. So I mean, we really just need to fill out like a few spots here, and again, like. We don't need this to be superstars, and again, we have the 103 and the 110.
And Christian Kirk, like, he might be very startable week 1 for all we know.
Exactly, yeah. We're basically, the way I was, I'm looking at like these like picks here, and talking with my co-manager, is like, okay, we want to like put guys in our queue that, number one, like they've just like not had an opportunity to produce, but like we think they're good. But like for example, it's like I don't even think Roman Wilson's good, but like he was hurt all last year.
Right.
So like, there's a chance he was something, or like Marshawn Lloyd, same exact thing. So it's like guys like that, or Will Shipley, like he probably is the backup. But if not, like let's just get guys that have scored fantasy points in previous years, potentially last year, 2 years ago. They've shown us that they score fantasy points. And we're not drafting them for anything to do with value. We're just drafting them because they could probably be in our lineup at some point, or they have a direct path to get in. So like, sometimes you get two of those 3 requirements falling in, and then you get the perfect, draft candidate if you were taken. So that's how we're trying to navigate these late rounds. That's my favorite thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. You think we could? Yeah, you think we can pull this off? With this roster here, like,
what, getting the super team tag on Dynasty Daddy?
No. Well, it just won't, because we have so much 2026 stuff. But Trent and I, by the way, we're trying to get a vacation going. So like, this is like a 200 buy-in league. So if you win it, you get like, I don't know, like in Canadian dollars, you're getting like probably like closer to like $2,500. So like we'll split that. We'll go on vacation if we win. So I mean that's our goal right now. We're not trying to rebuild with these first. Like we're seeing what happens. But so
you might be using these as in-season buying power depending on how the start of the season goes.
Yeah. I got a lot of like interesting things that we could talk about like quickly here.
Okay.
Of like, and again, you need to have like. I don't want to say like they're not sharp managers, because if you trade away your first, I'm not saying you're not sharp in a startup, but like you're willing to take on some risk I'm not willing to take on.
Yeah.
And here's my new favorite strategy, which I can't believe I haven't really ever like thought about this before. But like if people have already like moved their first, like people are willing, like, okay, if someone trades for a first, Dan, you trade for a first, like that doesn't mean they're not willing to trade that first that they just traded for. If that makes any sense. Again,
I get what you mean. Yeah, like, so if I trade for a first, like, I might want to move it now. Doesn't mean I'm just, like, rebuilding.
Exactly. So if you can target the players that... My new thing is target the guys that have traded for that first, okay?
Okay.
But then go and get that first off that player, but get the first that they traded for, because, like, okay, technically that person's team probably got better when they traded like their first away.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it's. I don't think that's even really true when you trade your first away. I think you're thinking your team's better when it's not. But like now, I'm not even giving that guy, the owner of the first, like assets. Does that make sense? So like, if I traded like, there was one deal we made. We traded like an 11th and like 2/12ths for a first, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But like we kind of got some picks thrown back and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I gave that guy 3 startable players. But like I didn't give it to the guy that I got the first from. Does that make sense? So I didn't make the guys.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's like the max points for is so important. So I didn't make depth and the team better for the teams first I dealt with. And by doing that, I actually made another team better that could hurt that guy's first.
Right. Oh yeah, that's really fascinating. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really thought about that. Another benefit is that it's probably easier to get that first that's attached to Manager X because Manager X no longer owns it. So like you're getting it from Manager Y, who like, oh, I don't mind trading someone else's first because like it's not mine. So like, you know, there isn't as much attachment to it.
No, yeah, exactly. There's not that much attachment to it. They're making their team better. I mean, we gave up a lot to like give up. I think it was like maybe it was like 3/12s or something like that. But like, you know, we were giving up basically like Jacoby Myers and Aaron Jones and stuff like that. When you actually look at the board, like it wasn't really anything to like care too much about. And rookie picks, but yeah, I thought that was like an interesting thing. I never really thought about. I know their team technically gets better when they originally traded it, but I think that's really arguable. I think they could have done a deal where it's like a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
And you can already kind of see other teams panning out. So like, we went ahead and did that once or twice. I had twice actually. Yeah, where we didn't make the team better that we dealt with.
Yeah, I love that strategy. And Cooper in the chat says insane draft, and he also says if the season looks good, you can move the 26 first for elite guys, and if the season isn't going good, you can just survive until the 26th draft and you can load up. Love that strategy for a startup. Yeah. I mean, there really isn't too much downside to getting those 26 first because as Cooper points out, like whether you end up contending that season or rebuilding, it really works for you either way there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the, you know, I will say this about any startup I do basically. Like, this is just the ultimate, like, how I want to build it. Now, I'm happy with a lot of the picks we got, especially early. Actually, just all throughout, really. Like, I'm really happy with what we got, where we got it.
Yeah.
Other people might not think that, whatever, but because they didn't draft the players, you know, especially the guys in my startup, they probably aren't thinking that. I honestly think they probably think our team really stinks. And it could, but we'll have 4 firsts and a bunch of studs, and we could trade away some vets, whatever. Or we have a really good team, and you know, maybe we have some rookies, whatever. We have a bunch of picks, and we buy some more studs. And the underrated thing always that I am considering when I'm trading for this first, I'm not trading for that just because it's a first, and like I want a late first next year. I really think when people trade these firsts away, you often end up getting the 101, the 105, whatever it is.
Right.
I know
it's not always like the wisest managers that are just throwing around their future first.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're not wise, but it also does, like, I think it would say that it almost feels like you have a better chance of getting a top 6 first than you, or like a top 8 first than you do, like contrary, even though you're there's a big trade-off. Like your team's supposed to be getting better, but the thing is too is like they're not considering that like how max points 4 is taking place in, and injuries and the variance, and it's just like I'm eating that all up. I want to like win the championship with the 101. I think is what we talked about like last startup.
Yeah. Right.
Can you just imagine if we won that and we had the 101 and a 104 from someone? I mean, my God. Like, that's how you build a dynasty, in my opinion.
Yeah. And we got Sebastian in the chat. Welcome. He says, LOL, you ain't winning this year. That title is mine. So, yeah Sebastian's in the super, right?
We'll check his team out quick here. So, he traded up for Allen with us.
Mm-hmm.
Sacrificed his first. We gave him our second back. That was the deal. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, he actually has a really good team as far as, like, players goes.
Pretty nice starting lineup.
Really good contending team. I like that he has like a Neighbors and Allen. Yeah, Baker as a QB2. Oops, that was
Oh yeah, I
popping
like
up.
that. Yeah, that's a really nice starting lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pollard you'd be kind of like even like
Mhm.
Fryermuth could be kind of a sneaky flex maybe in this format.
Oh yeah, no, definitely Andrews. Again, I know he's not like a
Yeah,
big PPR guy, but I think he can live in the flex.
yeah, he got Pickens. He kind of got lucky with being on the clock while
Yep.
he was
Yep.
Pickens had just gotten traded to the Cowboys. So yeah, so Sebastian looking like a pretty nice starting lineup there. I gotta say.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have much on the bench, but he doesn't. I thought these were some good picks here.
Oh
Tillman,
yeah, we love Tillman. Got it.
Goddard
We
was a
love
great one.
yeah
Gets Russ in the 14th round, so QB3. Now,
yeah.
I think he doesn't have like any picks, unfortunately, like really
Okay.
coming through. Yeah, we own them
Well,
all.
I mean, if you're not going to have any, any more startup picks or future
Well,
picks
he has a 19th, and I don't know if he'll have any futures. Maybe a second or something.
in the future?
Yeah, he might.
Okay.
We check.
Well, hey, I mean, if you're trading away all those picks, you better have a pretty damn good starting lineup, and thankfully you do. So that's good.
That's right. Yeah, he does at least have that. So
Yeah.
we'll check what he's working with here. Okay, so he has our second. That's right, because we gave it to him,
Mhm.
and just a third. So yeah, not much to work with, but at least has some picks. So yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be tough to take down, but yeah, I thought it was,
All right.
what's that?
I was going to say how many players do you start in each week? It looks like it's
It's
pretty
11.
deep. Is it start
It's
12?
exact same as break room.
Oh, it
Exact
is.
same.
Start 11. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so start 11. So yeah, I mean, one thing that we did in this draft, you see, we trade for a lot of picks around this area. I mean,
Mhm.
we were really willing to take on these 15th, 17th,
Yeah.
18th, and build some depth, and yeah, get some more assets going. Obviously, trade for those first. So
Mhm.
I thought this was like the definition of like a startup I wanted to do. Where yeah, you get the stars and like the really good value players like the Johnnus. I know you love Johnu at 11-3 in this format. I absolutely love Johnu.
Yeah.
Um, and then you just kind of build some scrubs around it, but maybe you get lucky. You lean into those rookie picks, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Buying power, man. Yeah. The best part is we'll probably like week one, everyone will get hurt, and and then we're like rebuilding or something. But man, hey, preseason though, it looks good to me on paper.
And did you mention what 25 picks you have?
Yeah. So we have the 103, 110, and then like there was just a gap where, well, number one, we either didn't have picks or we're trading them for the 26 first,
Yeah.
or they were just like going really really early and often the picks. So we didn't get a pick until 3-7, which we didn't want. We
Oh, wow.
wanted to get picks, we
Yeah.
just couldn't.
Yeah.
Or we needed to pick like Connor and like guys like in the tight ends, you know.
Yeah.
So they were just way better than the pick on the board.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have everything.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Like we can't just like pass out. Like the whole plan is to like take these guys and stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
for
we,
sure.
we can't. Yeah. So we it just didn't end up working out, and we got the first as a you know,
Consolation.
yeah, consolation. But
Yeah.
we ended up we basically own from the 3-7 to like the 4 like 2 or something right now. Like
nice.
basically like we might not own like a pick or two there or something. So
Yeah.
we own a lot of picks in that range right now, which is awesome.
You could always like trade back from like the 110 or whatever late pick you had there was. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll find a way to get some additional picks if you want them.
Exactly. I'm thinking already. Yeah. How do we trade back from that? Get a second. Get futures. Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
In a player this year. So.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was loving that. And then one thing I was maybe I don't know, a couple players I was gonna point out. Yeah, McMillan as a faller. I was really interested to see where the hell he goes at 14-2. I mean, I guess it sounds about right now, but
Yeah.
that's a big faller. Tank Dell somehow getting picked in the 16th. That's insane.
Yeah.
One pick behind Coker. I mean, at least Coker is.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
to be clear, you're saying it's insane that he's going that early.
Yeah, I mean, Tank Dell to me, like, I'm sorry, I don't think he should be worth really anything right now. Like,
Yeah. And
maybe 27 fourth.
I agree. And even Jalen McMillan, like, I love the rookie season he had and how the way he ended it. He was so hot and everything, but it really does feel like he's just gotten nuked. And like,
Yeah.
I really don't care about him that much anymore. Like, I mean, in a free league, and I don't know if you'd be able to even do it in a paid league, but I shipped him away for just basically like a random 26th third, and I was happy to get that for him.
I think you could probably do that, but I think that's just like his value. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, if it was a 25 like third, which is like call it like get-ins and like all my favorite handcuff running backs, your favorite. I just would rather take the handcuff because like they can
Yeah.
score points this year.
Yeah.
Where McMillan, he needs to get traded or something needs to happen. It's just
Yeah.
it's not that it's impossible. It's just pretty grim. Like I think Tillman's a better pick, stuff like that.
The thing is, like, even if like Mike Evans retires after the season, and who knows with like Godwin, like does he stay healthy or whatever? But it still seems like you could just see the Bucs like drafting more receivers next year or something like that. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't mean he's like gonna score on points. Like even if he's
it
got
doesn't
like a
mean he's
book
just
and
like
Godwin.
climb back up and
Yeah.
up. Now he's going to be like the wide receiver 2, and Ibuka's going to be the wide receiver 1. Like they could draft another receiver, and then he's like back to being like
Yeah.
wide receiver 3 or 4. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe Tez Johnson is something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of competition there.
Yeah, which sucks because I mean again like McMillan the way he finished out the season, I mean he's
Yeah.
productive, right?
Oh yeah, I think he's a pretty good player, and like if it wasn't for them taking Ibuka, like I'd probably be trying to buy McMillan right now.
Yeah, exactly. So like, basically if they didn't have Ibuka, like he was already such a big follower that like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. But there's a couple things that players that I noticed like there's big discrepancies between our draft like a month ago, same format, and not. And then Hunter Henry, I think he only went like a round and a half earlier in this one. But again, I thought we got a really good deal, Josh and I, on him at like 16-1 or something. Not much further ahead. I thought Jatavius Sanders, we were about to just like take him because like 15-11 for a second year tight end. I thought that was a pretty good deal and a 2 PPR.
Yeah.
Leggett and Coker are just like dead.
Right.
Like I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's not bad this late.
I mean, I literally passed on them, but like I still thought it was crazy they were there.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
What were some other ones? Yeah, look at this. Javonte Williams back up to the 13th round. I mean, I see it, but
Wow, he went before Spears. Am I seeing that right?
yeah, he went for Spears. So, look at this. Jordan Mason has made it to the 12th, start of the 12th round. I think it's like a pretty decent spot, like honestly, but it's just like, oh damn, now you can't even draft him. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
But Tracy somehow still won 11-2. I thought that was insane.
Yeah.
How are you not take he should be down here somewhere with Spears, or behind Spears probably. And then what else did we have here? There was some this was a lot more interesting players like you're just like Pitts at 8-4, Kincaid at 7-5. I just I'm not understanding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else? I thought there was a lot of like crazy. I think it's just like the same managers doing it though, or the manager like making a bunch of crazy picks. So like every time if you just get like that one guy in there, it can like really skew things on the reach. But okay, Rome Odunze at 5'10" here, which is interesting. We probably want to go here, by the way, in a minute, right?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to call it a night. But it has been a super fun stream, and what would you want to make one last point here?
I would just say I think Rome Odunze is probably one of the most interesting players, like profiles in all of Dynasty right now, and I guess I think I know where you stand, but like at least pre-draft, and I don't like. I definitely think it's changed a lot, but I already felt this way pre-draft anyways. So like now I feel obviously like way more of like couldn't understand how he was a 4-5 turn pick before. I get he's a great prospect, but like his numbers were really bad as a rookie. He was running all the routes. He was out there. He was attached to the first overall quarterback. He shouldn't be the same price or even like more expensive than he was his rookie year. Like I get the second year breakout stuff, but like again, like he didn't even have good numbers. Like normally you have good numbers, but you just didn't produce for fantasy. Your underlying metrics are always like telling of, and his was like abysmal pretty much, right? Any predictive measurement, right? And it's just like I didn't think he really passed the eye test. There's really not a good argument except for all this ADV stuff with like the coach coming in. And then now you add in 2 pass catchers with your first 2 picks, Loveland and Burden. Yeah. And it's like, even at 5'10", I think that's way overpriced.
Has his value fallen since the NFL draft?
Barely. On keep trade cut, I think he's still the wide receiver 20, and I don't see any way he is. I don't think it's likely at all that he finishes even, I guess, like a top 30 receiver. He would need a lot to go right for him
Yeah.
this season. I think it's extremely likely he just goes down in value as a 5th-round startup pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just so many damn good players in the all of Dynasty and guys that are going to actually score points. And we know if you score points, you jump players that are not scoring points. So I'm not saying it's impossible he scores points, but I'm just having an extremely tough time to see how he's basically the same price as he was last year, still, because of Ben Johnson.
Yeah, it's a little complicated with them drafting Burden and even Loveland. I feel like his value probably should have gone down a decent amount, and it sounds like it hasn't. So, yeah, that's a tricky one. I'm not really sure what to do with Roma Dunze now. I mean, I only have him in one league. Bought him at a pretty attractive price, but definitely didn't love how the NFL draft went. So, yeah, I feel like I could definitely get on board, like, if his value is, like, plummeted since, like, the NFL draft, and it's like, okay, now I can, like, buy low on him. I'd really like that. But, yeah, he might be overpriced at this point.
I thought I'd be in on Rome by default, knowing how bad his rookie season was. Not the case at all. I mean, your price cannot stay the same. Like it's the same thing with May. Him and May are like the same thing in my book. How are you going up / maintaining value for not doing anything for fantasy?
Yeah.
And the May thing's a little bit different, but I mean he went up in value a lot, so that's the difference. Whereas Odunze has maintained it. But yeah, I think those two are probably my biggest like logical fades of like, yeah, sure, they can, like, I see a path, especially for May, of like how he can be a 1st-round starter pick, but he's already damn near being picked as that. So like, I don't think I'll have any of those guys anytime soon until the price is corrected.
Yeah, I definitely agree on May.
Yeah.
I think we can probably wrap up this stream here, but it's been fun, and it's definitely good to see Cooper and Sebastian pop into the chat here. So, yeah, we hope you guys enjoy this Tuesday stream. Like, let us know if this is a good night, if you like having the streams on the Tuesday, or if you prefer them on Wednesday. But, yeah, like, we're always going to try to do them on Wednesday, and, yeah, it seems like when we do Tuesday streams, it's just kind of like as a bonus. But thank you to everyone who joined us. And, yeah, definitely hit like and subscribe if you're new. And hit the notification bell if you want to know when we go live. And we will hopefully see you tomorrow on the stream.
All right. Peace.